So the topic of today's movie discussion is the 2005 adaptation of Jane Austen's novel Pride and Prejudice. Directed by Joe Wright, this was his directorial debut, at least on the big screen. This is the first time he came out on the big screen. And Joe, man, oh man, I thought he hit it out the park. He really did knock it out the park with this one. Stars Keira Knightley in the in the main role of Elizabeth Bennet. Stars Matthew McFadden as Mr. Darcy, who honestly I really didn't know who he was before watching Pride and Prejudice. I thought he did an awesome job. I thought he did an amazing job as Mr. Darcy. But the movie, man, just this beautifully done, artistic, epic movie that tells the story of, the Bennet family and the Bennet girls, and really focusing on, obviously, on Elizabeth Bennet. But, the story is too complex to really give a good synopsis. But just in brief, if you haven't read the Jane Austen novel or seen any of the other versions of Pride and Prejudice, just briefly, it's about, like I said, the Bennet family and the Bennet girls. There are 5 Bennet girls, the oldest, Jane, and Elizabeth, who is kind of the center of the story, and then there's the younger sisters, Mary, Kitty, Lydia, and their lives, after their lives intersect with wealth, basically. They're intersecting with Mr. Bingley, who's this man of wealth, and his friend Mr. Darcy, who's also a man of wealth. And the mother's goal is to really marry off her daughters to wealthy families, and just this beautifully done love story that challenges the characters to push away pride and push away prejudice.
Thank you for explaining so fully. Perhaps these offences might have been overlooked had not your pride been hurt by my honesty in admitting scruples about our relationship. Could you expect me to rejoice in the inferiority of your circumstances?
And those are the words of a gentleman.
Anyway, this adaptation, which a lot of people don't realize, it was only the second time that Pride and Prejudice was adapted to the big screen. All of the other adaptations were either theatrical adaptations, or there's that really the defining work that when you think of Pride and Prejudice, and you kind of think of that 1995 BBC version, and that one really set the tone in a lot of ways. So this one had a lot to overcome in terms of coming out from that shadow of the BBC version, which was just an awesome version as well. But man, I loved it because what they did, and to Joe Wright's credit, I think that he tried to not modernize the movie, but to make sure that the movie was made with a modern, young audience in mind. And I really think he knocked it out the park in that regard. I thought he did a great job of making sure that the movie was speaking to today's young people. And again, just a very well done movie. There's not a whole lot of negatives to say about the movie. The movie itself, like I said, beautiful cinematography, just beautiful framing of shots. I'm personally a sucker when it comes to long, uninterrupted, well choreographed shots, and this movie was just, chock full of those. really just had an eye to the art of movie making, which is cinematography. Really, at its core, movie making is about cinematography. It's visual. You know, there's all the other pieces that come together, the music, the acting, all of that, but at its core, movies are visual art pieces, and this one was just such a well done visual art piece. All the other pieces did come together though. The score by Dario Marianelli, I think is his name, man, I mean, complimented the movie excellently, did a great job of being this classic grand score without being overbearing. I mean, really just a, you know, well done. The acting, oh my goodness, you got to give it up to Keira Knightley. This was by far her best acting performance up to that point. You know, up to that point, man, I mean, really, this movie allowed her to shine, and she shined in the movie.
From the first moment I met you, your arrogance and conceit, your selfish disdain for the feelings of others made me realize that you were the last man in the world I could ever be prevailed upon to marry.
They had some, you know, some other seasoned actors in there, notably Donald Sutherland, who is Mr. Bennet, and, you know, the patriarch of the family. You know, as a parent of a daughter myself, man, he throws out the line, you know, there's that famous line about, you know, when he's talking to Elizabeth, when he's talking to Lizzie about marrying Mr. Collins, there's this other character, and whoo, man, he knocks it out the park in terms of his delivery of the line. Just great job.
From this day onward, you must be a stranger to one of your parents.
Who will maintain you when your father is dead?
Your mother will never see you again if you do not marry Mr. Collins, and I will never see you again if you do.
Mr. Bennet. Thank you, Papa.
The movie, again, I cannot speak more highly of. Just a very well done movie. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend checking it out. Also, word on the streets is that they are finally getting the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies version off the ground. I think that they did some filming here this last fall. I need to kind of check the latest to see what's going on with that, but supposedly that's going to be coming out here at some point. They've been talking about that thing for years, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and supposedly that's going to be coming out here pretty soon, just as a side note. Anyway, if you haven't checked it out, highly recommend checking out the 2005 version of Pride and Prejudice. So with that, my friends, my people, keep watching them movies with a critical eye and a respect for the craft. Yeah, this is SoopaBee.
Make me happy, and I'm convinced I'm the last woman in the world who could make you happy.
I flatter myself, cousin, that your refusal is merely a natural delicacy. Besides, you should take into account that despite your manifold attractions, it's by no means certain that another offer of marriage may ever be made to you.
Mr. Collins.
So I must conclude that you simply seek to increase my love by suspense.
Sir.
According to the usual practice of elegant females.
Sir. I am not the sort of female to torment a respectable man. Please understand me, I cannot accept you.